Alright, hello, welcome to the next module. As promised from the video above, we're going to talk about standing in one spot for a period of time and strategizing with that. Oftentimes, if people have a lower back issue, and again, I encourage you to see your chiropractor if this is you, not only to go through the initial we call it intensive care in our office, meaning we're going to correct that problem as quickly as we can for the shortest period of time, in the shortest period of time. Oftentimes it takes between 1 and 3 months, up to 6 months, depending upon the severity. But 80% of our practice is now wellness care patients, because once it's corrected, we want to maintain it. But traditionally, once you've had a lower back problem, oftentimes, especially if not corrected, just standing in one spot for a period of time is just horrible on lower backs. Part of that is because gravity, really. When you look at your spine from the side, this one right here, we got vertebra, and then we have discs in the middle. These discs are a majority mainly made up of water, about 80% water. As we stand and as we move around throughout the day, what happens with gravity, it actually pushes some of the water out of our discs. That's normal. What's interesting is, do this. Get up in the morning and measure yourself. And then in the evening, go and measure yourself again. Most people who are watching this video will be between 1/4 and 1 full inch shorter in the evening than they are in the morning. Because then what happens is you lay down, gravity is not affecting you much anymore, and that disc fills up with water again. Stand does this. Now, as you walk and move throughout the day, motion in your spine moves that disc around and it pumps fluid in and out. The disc is very avascular, meaning it doesn't have a lot of blood vessels, but it needs nutrition. And it gets its nutrition, like all cartilage in the body, from literally imbibing it or sucking it up from the adjacent bones. So when we sit for a period of time or stand for a period of time and don't move, we don't have that exchange of good material and getting the waste products out. What happens though is we just start to squish some of the water out of that disc. And what happens, you can see with these holes back here, the holes where the nerves come out of, when that gets squished down, that leaves less room for air. And it starts pinching down to that nerve. And sometimes, if you've got a disc issue, that disc will literally bulge here. Again, that's a chiropractic issue. Now, standing in one spot for a period of time, especially on concrete floors, anything with no cushion, really affects the lumbar spine. So a couple of strategies that you can do is, actually the big strategy is just putting a foot up on something. Now if you go to your local drinking hole, your local bar, you'll notice almost 100% of the time when you walk up to the bar, where the bartender is, they almost always have a bar there. That's why they call it a bar. The reason why that's there, so you can stand and put your foot up and have a couple of drinks and take the pressure off of your back. Watch people walk up to the bar and order something. Inevitably, and I almost 100% of the time believe you do the same thing, you stand there, and as you're standing there, your body innately just puts is when you put your foot up, it rocks your pelvis back, rocks your hips back, and it causes that lumbar spine to open up in the back. This part rolls backwards, and then your lumbar spine opens up forwards a little bit. So I'd encourage you, anytime that you need to stand in one place for a period of time, do that technique. So washing dishes, you know, I do the pivot technique to do it, but I also will open up one of the doors so I can put my foot up in the cabinet. So if you work at a place where you have to stand for a long period of time, in a factory where you're walking back and forth on the line, but you spend a majority of the time in one spot or in two spots, I would encourage you to engineer where you could put something there, a can, a box, something. It doesn't matter. It only needs to be a little bit off the ground, just several inches. It doesn't need to be 1.5 feet off the ground. And you can walk back and forth between those two stations, and let's say 25 to 50% of the time you can put your foot up on it. It's 25 to 50% of the time taking that pressure off your back. If you work as a cashier and you're standing and you're bringing stuff up all day, look below you, see if you can put your foot up on something. And honestly, it doesn't matter which foot you use. I'd encourage you to switch back and forth with those things. So meaning right foot, left foot. But if you could only use your left foot, that's better than not using anything at all. So I would encourage you to look for opportunities to get that foot up, even if it's for short periods of time, because that's going to help a lot. Now, I'm going to show you a little pearl too. Again, with my herniated discs, what I found is that standing on these surfaces for a period of time really kill my back. So if we go out shopping, let's say at the mall, and I spend a lot of time waiting for people that are coming with me to get their shopping done, I'm one of those shoppers, like I go in, get the things I want, and I'm like out of there. But you know, you get shopping with people who like to try things on, they like to contemplate things, and you end up standing a long period of time. So two strategies for that. One is you can do this to get a foot up. Simply, literally just get this foot up a little bit. Just like that. That helps a great deal. If your lower back is getting tight, here's a little gem for you. Put your feet close together, which you'll never hear me say this, hardly ever, right? Feet closer together, tie into your legs, and get all the way down like this, and then simply grab onto your knees and just gently pull yourself forward. Again, that's opening up the back of that lumbar spine and getting some of the pressure off the nerves, and it creates a form of traction. And then again, push up like that. So the way I do is kind of clandestine. Like, oh my gosh, look, there's something that I want to see. I'll look at it at the bottom shelf. So I'll go, huh, what is that? Stretch, look at it, stretch both ways, and then come back up. That was me 20 years ago. Now 20 years into the game, I'm like, I'm just going to stretch wherever I want. So use those techniques, whether it be getting a foot up or simply pivoting a little bit, pivot into it a little bit to get some of the pressure off the spine. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll see you on the next video.